Hi guys, this is Erica Weston with Fox Sports Midwest, and you're listening to my favorite St. Louis Blues hockey podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio.
Welcome to Season 8, Episode 78 of Let's Go Blues Radio, the often imitated but never duplicated, the original St. Louis Blues hockey podcast. We're broadcasting live on Wednesday, August, what is it today? August 12th? That's August 12th. That's the anniversary of the Blues winning the Cup, I believe. The 12th every month, right, guys? Got to celebrate that.
Yes, that's correct. This is the 14th celebration.
This is franchise episode number 264 all time. Your hosts tonight are yours truly, Kurt Price, Bill Day, and Jeff Ponder. And for your listening pleasure for the next little while, we'll be talking Stanley Cup champion St. Louis Blues hockey. To interact with the show on social media, you can follow the show on Twitter at LGB Radio. My handle is at Kurt Price, Bill's is at Billy Blue Note, and Jeff's is at JPonder94. You can follow us on Instagram, like us on the Facebook, and feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel where this show is broadcast live each and every week during the season. It's also broadcast live on Facebook now as well. So for those of you watching live on the show on YouTube or Facebook right now, feel free to comment in the live chat and we'll address what we can. The website is letsgoblues.com where you can listen to or watch past episodes of the show, browse the fan discussion forum, as well as get some cool St. Louis Blues themed t-shirts and stickers that helps support the show. Did you guys get your NHL bracket playoff brackets filled out?
Yeah, I did.
You know what I do with mine? I do this every year. I fill it out as like just a bunch of placeholders. Okay, that's what I think. Just do it real quick. And I go back and analyze it more and then tweak it and change it and whatnot. Forgot to do that. The other morning I was upstairs in the kitchen. Hockey started. I'm like, oh, well, I guess we'll go with what I picked. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I always just go by gut 100%. So you're doing exactly what I did.
Yeah, I put a little more thought into it. Just kind of, I fill it out just in case I forget. And that's what happened this year. So,
yeah, no, that's we all had the same approach. Although I had no intention of going back and tweaking mine whatsoever.
I hate predictions. I really do. I hate doing that. I do
too.
I mean, even though we always do it, it's just like I feel stupid. I'm like, because picking the winner in a series is one thing, but the amount of games, how many goals were scored, so arbitrary. It's like, come on.
Podcast, media, any new media, it's kind of something you just have to do.
You have to.
And it's just not anything I enjoy either.
It's I mean, yeah, because you look like a genius when you get it right. Hey, they won in 5. I got it right. And then whatever, if you get it wrong, it's like, it's sports.
Yeah, I mean, I was so right with my first round predictions. I picked Nashville. I picked the New York Rangers. I mean, I did everything right.
I'm going to say it again. I'll probably say it every show. I did pick Chicago to beat Edmonton. So
I wanted to pick Chicago, but I was like, probably not going to happen. Connor McDavid's going to go off.
Edmonton's got to show me something before I pick them in a series. They kind of disappoint year in and year out. So it's like picking the Blues, in years past. Yeah,
you knew what you were going to get. But I'll stand by my analysis of the Oilers until they actually do something to address their defense and goaltending. But Mike Smith wasn't going to be the answer, and didn't see a minute after the first period of the game one, and didn't deserve to. And Koskinen just, he's a big frame, but just technically he's not great. I think Jake.
I want to know where Andy Moog's at. You need Andy Moog, Edmonton. Come on.
Or Jake Allen.
That too.
So our official beers of episode 278. Jeff's got a themed one today. You want to start off with yours, Jeff, this week?
I mean, not really. I'm kind of going with another Center Ice favorite here in St. Louis. The Center Ice Brewery Revolving Pale Ale Series 004. Kurt, this is not an IPA. This is a pale ale. And it is sure. And it is very good. It's very smooth, and really all the pale ales or all the ales from Center Ice Brewery are some of my favorite ales. So, but I also wanted to point out for our friend joining us from Vancouver right now, which we'll get to Chris in a minute. I am drinking out of a Labatt Blue Glass to show I have some Canada love.
See, I
just not for the city of Vancouver for the next couple of weeks.
when you held it up earlier, I thought you were drinking Labatt Blue.
No, I was not. I'm cheating. I'm drinking a St. Louis beer out of a Canadian glass.
Bill, what you got?
Well, I wish I would have known we were doing that, because I've got some Molson Canadian Piners downstairs that I could have poured mine into. Although I don't think I have any Canadian beer in the house right now. But tonight I'm going with New Belgium Voodoo Ranger 1985 Mango IPA. So I picked up the IPA slack for Jeff. It's totally rad.
Totally rad.
Totally rad. He's got a Cobra Kai looking jacket on. It's pretty sweet. But no, it's I just got done with a week off of work and realized I didn't restock the fridge, so this was the leftover. So that's what I'm going with.
Well, I went to Jeff's route, and I did the Center Ice Brewery beer tonight. The old Arena Lager.
That's one of the best.
The old tribute to the old arena in St. Louis, a favorite barn of mine. My God, that was so much fun to watch a game there.
Yep.
So,
by the way, I'll point out, I know we're going to get to him in a minute, but our guest just messaged me and said he also has a beer of the episode.
So why don't we go? Yeah, we
yes,
can.
We can.
We'll go ahead and introduce you. Chris Faber with. Yeah, so he's our guest from Vancouver. Are you from Vancouver? Are you from Vancouver? Or are you where you were located?
Yeah, I'm from Vancouver Island originally. Moved to Vancouver for school and pursuing this media career about 6 months ago. So it's been an awesome 6 months so far. And yeah, we got some good beers over here. So can I jump right in with mine? I want to keep this flowing here with the beers, I guess.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go right ahead.
Okay, so check that can art on that one. The apricot abuse. This is an apricot sour from Parallel 49 beer. Absolutely delicious one. An apricot sour beer. So I'm going to mix it up. Go real craft on you guys. This is a very Vancouver beer out there.
St. Louis is quite big into the craft beer scene too. So we've got a number of
yes, we are.
breweries in St. Louis. Quite fantastic selection here too. So we're all about the craft beer in St. Louis. So we know how it is. So we have Chris.
So I say we roll through it, but before I want to get to where I was before. Chris Faber from the Canucks Conversation Podcast. Chris, before we get into having you break down the series, tell us a little bit about your podcast, what people could find if they're Blues fans wanting to hear some Canucks coverage.
Yeah, I think last time you had me on, you were calling them the Canucks. So you've improved since then, Jeff. I appreciate that. It's called the Canucks. But yeah, Canucks Conversation. Yeah, it's we started that show up. I guess it's been going for almost 2 years now. I recently added a co-host in David Quadrelli. We're both in the Radio and Arts program at the British Columbia Institute of Technology. Post episodes every Saturday, every Wednesday, and yeah, you can find us on Twitter at Canucks Convo. So thanks for having me on, guys. I'm always happy to chat Canucks with anybody.
Awesome. So the round one versus Vancouver. This is the fourth playoff meeting between the Blues and the Canucks. The Blues have never beaten the Canucks. They in 1995 lost a best of seven to the Canucks 4-3. 2003, same, lost in seven. And 2009, they were swept by the Canucks. So, which in 2009, that wasn't a good Blues team. They won that. That was the year that the Blues won that tear to make the playoffs. unbelievable tear. And then I had a conversation with Chris Faber, the Blues radio play-by-play guy, after the series, and he said that the Blues just won too many games. I think he wanted the Blues to play San Jose that season, who was actually the first seed, and the Ducks ended up upsetting the Sharks that year in the playoffs. So Curbs might know what he's talking about. Chris, how do you see this series on paper as far as the Canucks and the Blues? Obviously, the Blues are favorites in this series, but the Canucks are coming off that series win against Minnesota to get to the round of 16. The Blues have not played particularly well at all in the round robin in games that some people are calling meaningless. But how are you seeing the series right now from a Canucks standpoint?
Yeah, I think going into game one, obviously you just mentioned it, the Canucks are coming off a pretty emotional high after that big overtime win. It only took 11 seconds for our sniper Chris Tanev, of all people, to put it past the goaltender for the Minnesota Wild. And the Blues, like you mentioned, they're coming off of a pretty rough little play-in series there, round robin games. And I just think that game one's going to be an interesting one. I think that if the Canucks are going to have an advantage in any of these games by a severe amount, I think it's this one. But I think it's similar to what happened to the Vancouver Canucks in game one is, maybe the Blues take a punch in the mouth and then come back with their best game in game two. But I think just looking at the emotional difference right now between these two teams, I think game one, I do like Vancouver in game one just from what they just came from, what the Blues came from, and being in the same bubble here. It'll be an interesting first game for sure, but I think it's going to go down a couple of very different paths depending on how this first game goes here.
The Blues finished the regular season as the top seed in the West and second overall in the NHL with 94 points after 71 games. Canucks were the seventh seed the regular season, and the 17th overall in the NHL with 78 points after they had played 69 games. The matchups this season for the Blues and the Canucks, the Canucks played very well against the Blues this year. The Blues lost in a shootout on October 17th. That was with Tarasenko in the lineup. And after the final two games, the Blues were without Tarasenko due to injury. So November 5th, the Blues did beat the Canucks in overtime 2-1. And then on the January 27th, the Canucks beat the Blues 3-1. So I've heard.
Can we real quick? Can we talk about the game? The Blues beat the Canucks in overtime. How did they win that game?
Do you ask me?
3-0.
The 3-0.
3-0, was it not?
How does that happen?
Tyler Myers took out his own player.
Yeah.
No, a tough one there. That's one of my favorite gifts is watching Jacob Markstrom smash his stick after that. Because what else is a goalie supposed to do in that situation? That was horrible. That might be the lowest point of the Canucks season, and they actually started playing pretty well after that too.
I've heard some Canucks fans say that if they do win this series, it could be the biggest upset in Canucks history, and that's not a knock on the current Canucks team. I think it says more. It says a lot more about what kind of team the Blues are, finishing first in the West and being the Cup champs and all. Would you share that assessment that it would be the Canucks' biggest upset ever, or do you have something else in mind that would be the case for?
Yeah, I wouldn't call it that. I think that obviously coming into this, the Blues are an excellent team, like you mentioned, best team in the West. I do like the way the Canucks match up somehow in this series. Kind of. I mean, the goaltending is going to be something that is going to be relied upon from either team. I mean, Jordan Binnington, obviously, you can't knock what he did this year. Jacob Markstrom, some of the best stats as a goaltender as well. The amount of tough, high danger shots that he's facing on this Vancouver Canucks defense in front of him. I mean, he's going to have to stand on his head. I've been saying it for months now. I think for the Canucks to go on a run, they're going to need Jacob Markstrom to have a 920, 925 save percentage going into this series. I think that's going to be what it's going to be depending on the Canucks going off having a good series here because the Blues are just too deep. They have a top nine that's very, very well rounded. Their power plays are excellent. Their defense core is better than the Vancouver Canucks by quite a bit. So the Canucks are going to have to rely on their young players and Elias Pettersson, Quinn Hughes, Brock Besser. Those guys really need to step up. And we've seen a lot of young players have good playoffs so far. So I'm banking on that as a Canucks fan.
So you mentioned
I wanted to ask.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Oh, I was just going to ask real quick. I always am interested in getting the perspective from the other team on our team. So you mentioned the Blues having a very good top nine. Binnington, the defense is in terms of facing the Blues in a 7-game series as a fan or as a reporter of the Canucks. What scares you the most about the Blues?
Well, I know that they're a strong forward checking team. I think that the way the Canucks looked great was when Quinn Hughes was on the ice. I mean, he was excellent for the Vancouver Canucks in that Game 4 when they won the Minnesota Wild, and we all saw what the St. Louis Blues did to every team pretty much that they ran into in the playoffs last year. They just wear down defensemen. Quinn Hughes also had some of his worst games for possession stats against the St. Louis Blues this season. It was early on when they had a couple of the games, but I think he's learned quite a bit there. But it still scares me. I think the forecheck and just kind of the way that this team plays so strong from top to bottom, that's the scariest thing about the St. Louis Blues team, because the Canucks do have some bigger bodies in their bottom six, but it's not really anything close that matches up to the big physicality that the St. Louis Blues are going to be able to bring.
Well, if you were on the Blues coaching staff, Chris, what would you tell them to look out for in this series? So who on Vancouver is going to beat the Blues if the Blues aren't on their game in this series?
Well, up here in Vancouver, we have our lottery. It's called the 649, and that's going to be the line that you guys are going to have to watch out for. It's called the Lotto line up here in Vancouver. JT Miller, Brock Besser, Elias Pettersson. That's going to be the line that's going to be the one you guys have to watch out for. The Lotto line had really good numbers against the O'Reilly line when they played them throughout the season. Against the Braden Shen line, not so much. So I'm really interested to see what the St. Louis Blues coaching staff decides to go with for a matchup against the Lotto line. But that's the big three that the St. Louis Blues are going to have to look out for. This team runs through Elias Pettersson and Quinn Hughes. They obviously get a lot of power play production from those guys. But at 5-on-5, that's where the Canucks seem to dominate in, is when that Lotto line's on the ice. That's when they're scoring goals. And, I mean, that's what the St. Louis Blues are going to have to key on. It's just Brock Besser, Elias Pettersson, and JT Miller. That's where a lot of the 5-on-5 goals are going to come from.
You mentioned a 5-on-5 play, which is interesting, and it'd be a nice battle because for the most part, 5-on-5 play is how the Blues won the Stanley Cup last year. They were tremendous 5-on-5, especially against Boston. So that'll be an interesting dynamic to a battle to see who has the better 5-on-5 play. So let's see. You've got a few minutes yet. So I think as far as 5-on-5 goes, regular season power play percentage for the Blues and Canucks, so special teams and 5-on-5 comparison. So regular season power play percentage for the Blues and Canucks are essentially dead even, 24.3 to 24.2, same as the PK, 79.3 to 80.5. They're almost dead even in special teams. That evenness carries over to goals scored for the season too. So the Blues had 223, Canucks had 224. The Blues have the edge in goals against, 190 to 214, as the Blues were tied for fifth in goals against, and Vancouver was 19th. So the Blues, however, have not scored a power play goal against Vancouver in the 3 games this season, going 0 for 9. That obviously has to change as far as the Blues are concerned. And you figure it will, maybe, but without at least some power play goals, it's tough for any team to win a series. On the bright side, though, for the Blues, they only allowed 1 power play goal to Vancouver and 12 chances against in the regular season. So power plays were shut down for both teams, which kind of reflects back on the 5-on-5 conversation. So if the power plays are indeed shut down again during the series, it could very well come down to 5-on. Well, it will come down to 5-on-5 play. So that'll be interesting because I know, like I said, that was a key to the Blues Cup run last year, and if they can rekindle that, I think that would bode well for St. Louis. So. Sorry, my computer froze here for a second.
Is there a question in there?
No, I was kind of recapping what he said about 5-on-5. So I have notes in front of me, and I'm wanting to cover these notes. So I
thought that was your attempt at a mic trap on Chris.
Hey, but
not going to let you say anything more. There's the sense.
No.
While we're in a weird spot, I do want to tell our Facebook listeners that hopefully have found the show. Some of them have. Jimmy Anderson, Austin Lynch, Doug, formerly Zed, has also joined us here. Good listeners of the show. If you guys have any questions for Chris, he's about to drop off here in a couple minutes. And if you guys have any questions about the Canucks or just the series in general, you want to ask a Vancouver guy, get those in probably within the next 2 to 3 minutes.
Berube on the Canucks. I guess I could ask Chris if he agrees with this sentiment. He said Vancouver has a lot of young guys who are really good players. It's very positive. I'm sure you'll agree with it. Vancouver has a lot of young guys who are really good players. have a lot of speed. They're a dangerous team offensively. They really come at you with speed. So it's really hard on the speed angle here. So we're going to have to do a good job of checking, doing the right things, and they also have a good power play. We took too many penalties in the round robin, so it's important that we stay out of the penalty box. Vancouver's speed, I know the Blues, they handled a fast team with Colorado in the first game of the round robin, played well against Colorado, but lost the last 0.1 seconds to go. So would you agree with that assessment that Berube had of the Canucks, where he's just, I think he seems to be focusing on their speed being their key pro?
Yeah, I think so, and I think that the way that you're going to have to beat Jordan Binnington is something that's not going to come from the speed, right? I mean, you're going to have to get bodies in front of this guy to score on him. That's a scary thing for the Canucks, is they want to generate a lot of their offense off the rush. With Elias Pettersson, Brock Besser, Bo Horvat, and Tanner Pearson was excellent in the playing series. These are the kind of guys that score a lot off the rush. And you guys have seen Jordan Binnington all year. I mean, the guy, if he doesn't have a screen in front of him, he normally makes a save. So that's something that I'd be worried about a little bit for the Canucks. But I do think the speed is going to be something that can definitely help them. But, it's crazy because the top six does have a lot of speed, but the bottom six for the Vancouver Canucks is not really out there to score goals. They're out there to not be scored on, which is something that's unfortunate for the Vancouver Canucks. Though Brandon Sutter had a really good playing series against the Minnesota Wild, and they might have a little bit of a bounce back in the playoffs now that he's fully healthy. You're going to need to see guys like Jake Virtanen fly down the wing. He's one of the fastest players on this Vancouver Canucks team. In the bottom six, you're going to have a couple guys that need to score goals at 5-on-5 for the Canucks to be in this series. And that's guys like Jake Virtanen, Tyler Mott, potentially Zach McEwen. Some of these guys that you probably don't know too much about, like, they're going to have to be able to use their speed and get some goals at 5-on-5 for the Canucks to be in this one, because they can't just fully rely on the Lotto line scoring every goal at 5-on-5 for them.
There are a lot of Blues fans.
So I want to add real.
Go, Jeff.
I'm just looking off the Facebook chat, and I want to point out, for those of you that may be tuning in now or hearing us on the podcast, Kurt and Bill and I are probably talking over ourselves a little more. The wonderful storms in the area have caused some delays, so do apologize for that. But and also to Chris for hearing this, because we're normally much better than this, I will say. We had a Blues question here from Tommy, which we'll get to after Chris drops off. But Chris, something we love about St. Louis sports fans is their ability to trash talk. Jimmy Anderson in our Facebook chat asks, Chris, do all Canucks fans drink wine coolers?
I guess I can answer that. Is this a wine cooler?
It's a White Claw. You know what? That's close enough. That's today's wine cooler. Actually, it really is.
It is. Chris, kudos for that, buddy. That's awesome.
White Claw is quite. White Claw is quite
craft beer and
prevalent.
Crown. Do you guys have Crown Royal down there?
What's that?
Do you have Crown Royal down there?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I'm just making sure. That's a go-to up here for sure. That is a lot of Canucks fans will be drinking their Crown tonight.
Okay. In sorrow? Is that after the?
Well, a lot of Canucks fans might be drinking a lot of Crown Royal tonight. Then we'll see what happens with game.
Okay. Do you? So give us. I said at the top of the show that I hate predictions, but gonna ask it anyway. So what do you? What's your prediction for this series?
Right now, the way that I'm looking at it, and I know you guys are going to hate this, but I do have the Canucks winning this in 7. I think that the Canucks have a good matchup with their top 6 against the top 6 that the St. Louis Blues have. I actually think that though you guys have some really good players in that top 6, Ryan O'Reilly, Braden Shen, they're good players. Return to Tarasenko is going to be the X factor for me. I think if he's able to have a really good series, he puts the Blues over the top of the Vancouver Canucks here. But I do like the matchup of what the Lotto line is going to be going up against. I like Bo Horvat maybe stepping up to the next level here and maybe getting to a level of somewhere close to what Ryan O'Reilly did last year. I think this could be a nice coming out party for Bo Horvat, the recently named captain. I think he plays a similar game to O'Reilly, and I think that he probably learned a lot from just watching him play last year in the playoffs. So this is an emerging team for the Vancouver Canucks. I'm not predicting them to go win the Stanley Cup. I think they're still a couple years away from that, but with the emotional high that they're on right now and their young players buzzing, it's a crazy year with this COVID situation and bubble hockey. I'm going to go with the Canucks in 7 here.
And that's not a I mean, based on the way the Blues are coming on the round robin, there's a lot of question marks here in St. Louis. There, people are. I mean, I wouldn't call it that people are freaking out, but there's cautious pessimism, I guess you would say, about the way the team has played, because we haven't looked good really out of the break. We looked terrible against Chicago in that exhibition game, and then the first game against Colorado I thought was our best game, and we lost that one, and then we just didn't. I mean, it wasn't good hockey. It wasn't Blues hockey. It wasn't championship hockey they've been playing. So if they can't, rekindle what they had last season, I can see that prediction coming true, absolutely. So I would like to see the Blues play better than they have to make it a good series. So, but we shall see.
I think it's time we probably let Chris go, because I know he's got some work to do with the game coming up. But Chris, this is second time on the show. I think we can call you a friend of the show now, and definitely want to have you back on if you're interested, and when we have better connection to where this won't be you, and talk about the series, which I'm hoping goes 7 games. I think that'd be a lot of fun to watch these two go that long.
Yeah, as a guy who writes about the sport and writes about the Vancouver Canucks, I'm hoping for 7 as well. It's going to be a lot of articles coming out of that. So, yeah, best of luck to you. It's it's going to be a good series. Obviously, I love the way that this young core is going up against the Stanley Cup champions. I think it's a great proving for this Vancouver Canucks team and what this young core is about to do. I'm just excited to see what Quinn Hughes can do against the St. Louis Blues. If the forecheck gets on him too hard, I'm worried about him a little bit. He didn't have some great games, but if he's able to shine and continue to build the momentum that he did throughout the first series against the Wild, I mean, he got so much better after game 1, after they got punched in the mouth. And I think he played the last 13 minutes in the third period against the Minnesota Wild to win that game for the Canucks. So Hughes is the X factor for me. I'm going to be able to love to watch this team. And I'm excited. It's going to be fun. I hope the power plays. Tyler Myers took 9 penalties in his first 100 shifts in the Minnesota Wild series. So I'm sure you guys will see him in the box quite a bit, but I would love to see a little bit of power play action between these two teams, because I love watching both their power plays. They're both electric.
I'm hoping for more Tyler Myers, not his own teammates in this series. I guess we'll see if that happens.
3 on 0.
Those are the tripping calls that you don't want to see as a Canucks fan.
What do you think the odds are a 3-0 is going to happen in the series? Probably slim and none.
Well, the Canucks isn't the best in the league, so I won't say none. I'll give you that.
All right, Chris. Well, thank you for joining us again.
Thank you very much.
And let's hope for a good, well fought.
Yeah, good stuff, boys. And we'll have a good series. We'll have with it.
All right.
See you later, fellas.
Take care.
You got it, man.
Definitely. Thanks.
And for folks wanting to follow Chris on social media, at Chris Faber 39. That's Faber 39. And then the show again for the podcast, Canucks Conversation, I believe on Twitter. They are at Canucks Convo. So good stuff. Again, we've had him on the show before, the show where we did the Behind Enemy Lines with him. Very knowledgeable Canucks fan, knows about the past. So again, I recommend his show if you're looking for a Canucks show to listen to during the series.
Going back to the 95 series against the Canucks where they won the 1-4-3. I was at Game 7 of that series. I watched the Blues whoop Vancouver 8-2 in Game 6 in Vancouver, and so expectations were high for Game 7. And I think it was a 5-2 loss or something like 5-3 loss, something like that. And then Joseph and Shanahan, that was their last game as a member of the St. Louis Blues. So as Keenan shut them out that offseason. So Joseph didn't have a particularly great series, and Shanahan was playing hurt. So that soured me. And then in 2003, being up 3-1 in the series, which we discussed, allowing 13 goals in the final 3 games, that stung. The Chris Osgood series. That was a series where in Game 6, I've told the story before, where a friend of mine, I was recording the game, and a friend of mine knew the outcome of Game 6, and I said, "Don't tell me the score." And he goes, "I'm not going to tell you the score, but Game 7 is going to be amazing." So I'm like, "Well, fuck." I knew the Blues lost, and then 09 was
that's the kind of.
Yeah.
I was going to say that's the kind of shit that my dad did to me all the time. I'd be working back when I worked retail, and I would come home and I'd have the game recorded on DVR, and he'd say, "You're going to watch the Blues game?" And I'm like, "Yes." So don't say anything. And he always go, "No, don't worry, I won't." But I'll tell you, that was a big 4-2 win. And I'm like, you son of a bitch.
I always, my mom, I'd get back from working or whatever, and I'd come back, and this is VHS, this is before DVRs. I'd have a game recorded, and I walk in and say, "Don't tell me the score." It's like probably 11 o'clock at night. "Don't tell me the score." And mom goes, "Oh, I won't say anything, but it was a good game." Like, don't say anything. Don't say anything. I don't know. It's a good game. That means they won, or I don't know. I want to watch it like I'm watching it live.
Well, talking about that series in particular,
I would never tell a Price that. I once saw Kurt's uncle Butch get in a fight after one of our ball hockey games because somebody told him the score of the Cardinals game and he was recording it. So
was that when he was on the floor with Green Sox fighting? Was that
yes.
fight? That was over there. I didn't know what it was about.
Well, no, that was a different fight. That was the Green Sox was actually over, the fact that they were 43-year-old men trying to fight 18-year-old boys. Yeah, no, this was, I think it was one of the drunks that routinely hung out to watch us play for whatever reason. Probably a perv, but I told him the score, and he kept telling him, "Don't tell me the score. Don't tell me the score."
Yeah. Don't tell someone the score who's recording the game. Don't even say if it's a good game. Don't say anything. Just, I'm highly weird about it, and a lot of people are. So just keep your mouth shut.
Well, anyway, real quick about the 03 series.
Right?
Do I, Bill?
No, we don't. No, we don't have to worry about it. Bill's right. Nobody has to worry about that. We're going to be watching live. But in the 03 series, I just want to add that was the flu series. Mellenby brought the flu into the Blues locker room. They were up 3-1, and that was the year, and we talk about it a lot on this show, that the players all say that was the year they were going to win the Cup. They saw the path ahead. I think the Red Wings were knocked out, maybe even the Avalanche, right? I can't remember for sure. Mm-hmm. And they looked at the path and said, this is a year that we're going to win it. And it just didn't happen because of the flu.
Yep. I think I was at Game 5. I'm pretty sure because it was we had the home ice advantage, right? And it was, I think it was the first game. It was like, we had the chance to knock them out and didn't. And there was something off about the team. And then, when the series is over, it comes out about Mellenby's kids getting everybody the fucking flu. Painful.
Now it's COVID. That could do it to you.
No, kudos to the NHL for keeping this clean. I mean, God, baseball has to cancel.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
Done a great job.
The Cardinals are an embarrassment. It's awful. They've played 6 games. Is that right? 5 games?
5 games.
5 games. Yeah. They should have played 13, 14 now. Yeah. Right.
Anyway, we digress.
Right. And again, apologize to anybody who's watching if the feed is choppy or the audio is going in and out, or the video is freezing or whatever. It's just, the weather has wreaked havoc on everyone's internet connection. So we're kind of at the mercy of that. So we're staying with it.
What were you saying that apparently we've already reached our rainfall from last year right now? Is that what you said?
No, our average annual rainfall, we were going to eclipse it by the end of today. And we've got 5 months to go. So extraordinarily wet year. Okay,
so this series. Sorry, Bill. I thought you were okay. So this series, before we wrap it up in a little bit, the keys to this series for for me, and you guys may have similar or slightly different ones. But we touched on this with Chris. The 5-on-5 play, is going to be it. I think this is what we did this last season. The 5-on-5 play won the cup for them. And if you look at the 5-on-5 stats for the Blues and the Canucks this season, now you can toss out regular season stats if you want, but this is what they are. This is all we have to go by. The Blues were 5th in the NHL this year in goals against in 5-on-5 situations. Pretty good. 120 goals against. The Canucks finished 23rd at 5-on-5 in goals against, 146. So and that's the exact same number Chicago had in one fewer game played than Chicago. So we all know that Chicago shouldn't be in the playoffs. If the season were to have played out and there had been no COVID, Chicago would be out. They were actually pretty bad this year. So 5-on-5 play doesn't seem to be a strength for the Canucks, and it is a strength for the Blues, and was a huge factor in their cup run last year. I think we'll see if that factors in this year. If that factors in this year, I think the Canucks are in trouble. I think it's a 5 or 6 game series if that factors in, like it might. Thoughts?
Yeah, no, I think just based, we'll talk about recency, right? The Blues went 8% on the power play in the 4 games coming into this. I think that if the Blues are going to win, it's going to come down to 5-on-5 play. My ultimate prediction for the series, and obviously I'm agreeing with you here on that being a key. My prediction is that the Blues are going to have to wear down the Canucks over the long haul. They're going to lose games in this series if they can't contain the Canucks. If the Canucks find a way to use their speed to break the forecheck, the Canucks will win it. I think I've got the Canucks winning it in 6. For the Blues to win it, I think it goes 7 with the Blues grinding them down. Either that or the unpredictable key injury to either side that is likely to happen.
The intangible, right?
Yeah, I think it's a matter, like you said, Bill. It's just a matter of the Blues playing their game and wearing them down. It would not surprise me one bit if Vancouver has a big game tonight and it kind of makes the Blues look stupid. But again, over a 7-game series, it is the Blues, the way they play the game, if they get back to it, not like we saw on the round robin, if they can step up, play the solid defense, the grinding game up front, and really put pressure on young guys like Quinn Hughes on the back end, I think they could easily take the series in 5 or 6. It's just a matter of just being able to play their game and not fall into the problems they had. You guys, I know you guys realize this, but people listening, the Blues had a lead. They took the lead in every single game in the round robin and lost every game. That can't happen. Yeah. If they can figure that out and get back to Blues hockey, I don't think that they'll have any issues and they'll be able to get past Vancouver. But if we keep seeing the same issues that were rising in those games and that were cutting into the Blues' lead, then this is going to be a short series in favor of Vancouver. It's just a matter of what Blues team we see.
And Bill said before the show that the Blues need to play like they give a damn, because they haven't shown that really in the round robin and the exhibition against Chicago. So based on the way Boston played today, Boston played much better. So that's
stepped it up.
Right. My expectations are that the Blues step it up, because there's something to be said for the veteran teams, the ones who have been there and been in the trenches and won cups and gone far in the playoffs, to step it up when it matters. So, and you could argue that round robin didn't matter, whatever. These games for sure matter now. So we'll see. It'll be interesting. I expect them to up their play, and I think if they do, they'll win the series. If they don't, they won't. It's just that simple. Because they were terrible. They were awful.
Yeah.
Awful. Hard to watch.
Regular season, they didn't give up. They didn't lose a game when going to the third period with a lead, and they did that 3 times in a row. Yeah, definitely not the play we're used to seeing. And I think you mentioned, does it matter? Does it not matter? What the result of the round robin was. I think it does. I actually, I thought that the Blues going up against Calgary, Calgary's a much more physical team. I think that would have woken the Blues up real quick. I think going into that first game, Calgary was going to punch them in the mouth, and I think that would have woken the Blues up and got them to focus. I don't expect that from Vancouver. I expect Vancouver is going to be a very dynamic, speedy offensive team. It kind of sets up to me like the Penguins beating the Sharks in the Cup final, where the Sharks were built for the grind 'em, wear 'em down over the 7-game series. But the Penguins, with that, I think it was Gensel's first time up. They used their speed to beat the forecheck, and that was key. If the Canucks replicate that, the Blues don't have much of a chance in the series, I don't think.
It'll be interesting to see.
We're already looking at.
I was gonna say
I was gonna get some Facebook comments,
all
but
right.
Kurt, go ahead. We can do those later.
Well, no, I was just gonna say that it'll be interesting because Vancouver is. I mean, I don't mean it in a negative way, being a one-line team, but their biggest threat is their top line. Right? We talked about this. Other than that, their forwards are the Blues are much better top to bottom forwards. The Blues bottom 6, bottom 9 are better than Vancouver's. Their top line is probably better than our top line if you 1 for 1. But the Blues, one of the main reasons, along with the 5-on-5 play, was shutting down the opponent's top line. You saw it in the final against Boston. They shut down Boston's top line, so big time. So the Blues are capable of doing that. So if they can keep Vancouver's top line in check, I don't see how Vancouver, and it's a big task. Don't get me wrong, but if Vancouver's top line is shut down, unless they get guys playing over their head from any other lines, which everyone knows you got to have to go advance in the playoffs and go deep. You need guys playing over their heads at times. If they'd have to have their other 9 guys stepping up, and that's asking a lot against the Blues too. So anyway, Jeff, go ahead with the Facebook comments.
Yeah, well, first of all, just to add to your comment, you mentioned the Canucks possibly having a better top line than the Blues, and I look at the Canucks like an avalanche. The fact that they're a very quick team, they move the puck quick, they have quick skaters, but again, that grinding style the Blues play, if they can get to the top of their level, they're unbeatable. Boston has a very quick team, and the Blues made them look silly 5-on-5 in the Stanley Cup final last year, and if anything, they should have improved since last year. So, but anyway, getting to and then I was also going to just say the depth of this team is far greater than Vancouver, especially up front. Defensively too, just much better. You can make the case
top to bottom,
but again, top to bottom, they are a much more developed, better team. You just have to hope that again they can show that they can do that in a 7-game series.
Yeah, and Vancouver is top heavy with their forwards, and they're top heavy on defense. So, and after that, it falls off a little bit. So, yeah, I mean, we're in agreement there.
So I'll end on Tommy's question. We'll get to that here in a second, but I see a couple of different comments here. Doug says, "Sorry, Kurt, tonight's game was a good game." That was a joke to what your mom used to say to you all the time. So pretty good. Good job.
Okay,
good job,
gotcha.
Doug. The Adam Gold, friend of the show, Winning Unlimited, is also what he's owned by. 3 most beautiful people in hockey right here, talking about us. Thank you, sir. Sorry, Sharpie, King Henry has Ryan O'Reilly. Little confused by that, but that's all right. Thank you, Winning Unlimited. Jimmy Anderson says, "Cheers, fellas, and let's go Blues." Adam Gold adds, "I suspect Kurt will corrupt the integrity of his playoff beard. No shaving allowed, Mr. Price. Grow the scruff."
I didn't
can
grow.
I submit a comment anonymously? Oh, go ahead.
I didn't grow one last year,
That's true.
so
That's
worked.
true. So this comes from anonymous.
Sorry, Jeff. I have to say that even the players who grow the beards and don't shave, it doesn't work for every team except one. So,
yep, that's true. So winning unlimited. I'm sorry, this is an anonymous comment. Bill Day has the best looking jersey, and you should all feel shameful. Yes, Bill, why don't you stand up and show the show, everybody watching, this beautiful jersey you're wearing.
Nice.
Look at that. That's beautiful.
I almost wore mine.
For you podcasting. I almost did too, actually. For all you podcasting, that is a Let's Go Blues Radio jersey, which, by the way, if anyone is interested in getting your own, which we've got a little bit of an order going here, and I'm thinking next order will be in September or October, email me at jponder94. I'm sorry, jponder94 at gmail.com. And jerseys are $35. They're great material. As you can see, it is August, and Bill is wearing his, so obviously it's a very breathable fabric. But yeah, just if you're interested, let me know. jponder94 at gmail.com.
Next up for the Blues, we got tonight's game at 9:30. So in about 15 minutes, cover starts. So what time's the puck drop? Going to be probably about a half an hour or so, quarter till, something like that, 20 till.
I'd say 25 minutes.
Yeah. So Friday after game 2 will be Friday, August 14th at 5:30 on NBCSN, and the next two games 3 and 4 Sunday and a Monday back-to-back days. Puzzling. I guess is why they need to have back-to-back days. I'm not sure why that is, but at 9:30, NBCSN as well, and the rest is TBD. So Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, the 19th, 21st, and 23rd of August. So hopefully it doesn't go that far.
Real quick, I got two more comments that I do want to get to. Austin Lynch asks if he has permission to play our podcast during his stream. Not really sure what you mean by that, Austin, but yes, that's fine. I have no problem with that. And then it's the question I've been kind of teasing here. Tommy asks us, will Allen get Monday's game in goal? What if the Blues are up 3-0?
No.
My answer is no. This is Binnington's net.
We had this discussion last year with some people on Twitter. Some people were wanting to get Allen some work in the playoffs. I'm like, that's not how it works. I mean, if your number one's playing well and isn't hurt, the backup doesn't see a minute of ice time.
Absolutely. You do not fuck with a number one goalie's confidence in the playoffs.
Not at all.
Allen got the appropriate amount of playing time last year, and I get both games. Binnington got pulled against Winnipeg in the first round and Boston in Game 6. It was that was all Jake needed to play, and it's not a knock on Jake. Jake had a great game against Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
You know, tough loss. It's nothing on him. You just don't fuck with the goalie's confidence in the playoffs.
It boggles my mind. I mean, why anybody would suggest you get the backup some work. We were up 3-1 against Vancouver. Remember this in 90?
Vancouver!
Vancouver! Which we have not mentioned, by the way.
We haven't done that enough. What the hell?
We have not. I didn't even ask Chris about that. If he, I'm sure he's familiar with it.
I'm sure.
But I mean, you've seen teams be out 3-1 in a series and they blow it. I mean, you don't go fucking around. You end a series as soon as you can, and you don't confidence. You play your best players in the playoffs. You don't get people work. Because I think the comment was, you need both goaltenders in the playoffs, so you got to play Allen a little bit. No, I mean, you need both goaltenders. You got to have one as a backup in case you need him, but you don't need him in a sense where he has to play. It's just not. That doesn't make any sense to me, and it's never been the case. People,
that's
a goal.
I was gonna say that's.
It's Letterkenny. Jesus fucking Christ.
Good you.
Oh my God.
This is great. That's I was going to say that's why you play them in the regular season, because then you're getting them their playing time, and you tell them, hey, we're not going to play you in the playoffs unless we absolutely have to, and that's why we're giving you playing time in the regular season, so you're ready for that playing time in the playoffs.
Right. You never ever worry about rust in the playoffs. Never. It's
Yep.
You go with the goalie who's got you there. And if for some reason the guy that got you there starts the playoffs injured and the guy who's taken over for the short time is winning, you keep going with that guy. It's how it is.
People that suggest that a backup play to get some work in the playoffs. I'm not saying this is from the comment. This is the case with the comment we got in the chat, because I'm not sure. I don't think that's what they were asking. But they have to be like newer fans, right? I mean, they just don't understand how playoffs work with goaltending and who you play and whatnot. I mean, it's got to be because they're probably thinking along the lines of during the regular season. Oh well, during the regular season, so you want to get him some work in the playoffs too. But yeah, that's just not the case. You don't. It's like in baseball. You don't pitch a 5-man rotation. In baseball, you pretty much stick to three to four tops.
I wonder if that question is mostly arising because of the situation we're in. We've never had this weird situation where you're having playoffs so far after the regular season. Again, though, I don't think that changes any of our minds. We all think you run with your goalie. I think Coach Berube would agree, and most coaches in the NHL would agree with that.
I'll add too, the only way that
I would even consider this is a situation like the Penguins had a couple years ago with Marc-Andre Fleury, when he was just could not stop a beach ball. I mean,
well, that's different.
His head wasn't there, and they had to figure something else out. They had to get another goalie in there. That's a completely different situation, though. If your goalie's playing well, you don't even consider taking him out of the net.
In the playoffs, your number one goalie has to be playing pretty bad to not get a start. If it's a clear-cut number one, number two situation, which is what we have, clear-cut, no doubt, cut and dry, right? I mean, Allen. Now, if Bennington gets lit up in a game and they pull him and Allen gets a start, gets to play. The next game, they're going right back to Bennington. It's not a situation where, Allen might get the start. No, they're going back to Bennington. That's just the way it is. I mean, I don't. Bennington would have to play poorly. I don't know, 3 games in a row, or 2 games in a row at least, to even have a conversation about starting Allen in a series. I don't see it.
So again, we probably want to start wrapping up here, but Austin Lynch just says some people won't let him play their music or podcast in his stream on Twitch, which I guess for when he's playing games. So that's why he asks. No problem, Austin. We don't give a shit. You're not like stealing money from us. It's no big deal. But I just want to add, again, we're going to be closing up here in a couple seconds. I just want to say everyone enjoyed the game tonight. Hopefully we'll see a solid effort from both teams, but it'd be nice to see a St. Louis Blues team we saw playing there in the middle of March, because that's the Blues we know and love.
That will wrap up episodes. That'll wrap up episode 78 of season 8 of the original St. Louis Blues Hockey Podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. Thanks for listening, and thanks to those who participated in the YouTube and Facebook live chats during the show. And thank you again to Chris Faber for joining us. He, again, from the Canucks Conversation Podcast and CanucksArmy.com. We hope you guys enjoyed this show as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. For Jeff Ponder and Bill Day, I'm Kurt Price. Until next time, everyone, let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues, and Jesus, Rain, stop. You're killing the show.
The Chiefs are at home tonight against Cyanosport at the War Memorial at 8. Good seats are still available.
A look at sports.
I think that went very well.
Thank you for listening to Let's Go Blues Radio. Now take off, hosers.
Well, there's 90 minutes of your life you'll never get back. Sorry.
St. Louis Blues, St. Louis Blues. Have you heard the news about our St. Louis Blues? They've only just begun, they're on their way to number one. Now there's no more blues for our St. Louis Blues. The Blues are on the